Hello and welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Conventional Starting Steps Remade. Today we're going to be continuing our series where we explain the why, the will, and the way for how to progress in the conventional start as a player in Aurora. In the last episode, we began continuing to exploit our surroundings, sending vessels to ruins, sending xenoarchaeology people, beginning to research the components we will need to collect them together to build our survey ship, and we created the survey frigate Elba. Now, the survey frigate Elba, apologies if there was a little bit of a cut there, but the survey frigate Elba is going to be perfect for our job. Now, there's a few things I want to go over, and that is that whenever you're playing Aurora, you should try and set goals for yourself, because this is a sandbox in the end of it. It's a story generator. And so our goal is going to be, we're going to try and get our first extrasolar colony, or not colony, but extrasolar system that we've been able to see and discover with the Elba class survey frigate by the year 2045. We're currently in 2041. The game started around 16 years ago. So it'll be 20 years to the day, 20th anniversary of our game start, that we'll be able to send out the Elba class survey frigate. And you guys should be able to do this as well too. Of course, everyone can play how they want, but I recommend getting out into the start as quickly as possible and thinking about your defense. So in this episode, we're going to be thinking about our defense capabilities, we're going to be thinking about colonization, we're going to be thinking about more exploitation, and also, importantly, how to logistically support our forces. So, what I'm going to create now is we're going to create something called a jump stabilization ship. Because, sure, we may be able to go out and survey, or not survey, but we may be able to go out and explore other systems, but there's no point in exploring other systems if we can't colonize them. And the way that we're going to colonize them is we're going to need to use our civilian industry, we're going to use our larger freighters, and if a stabilized jump point makes it so much easier for us. So we're going to create something called we can call it a jump ship. You can also go down here and create a new hull and call it something else. And what we're going to do with this is we're going to add onto it is going to be the jump stabilization module that we'll eventually be putting on. Now we should currently be researching that module. Or do we already have it? We should already have no, we do not have it currently. So we're going to need to be researching the jump stabilization module here, which will take some time. So I'm going to take away 5 laboratories from our power propulsion, the nuclear gas core engine that we're currently researching. And with that, we're going to begin research into the jump stabilization module that we will be needing. And the jump stabilization ship, again, we'll be able to stabilize a jump point on either end, and that's going to be really, really valuable for us. We need shipyards to be able to build that, though, and so we're going to need to build another commercial shipyard. I'm going to order another commercial shipyard to be constructed. I'm going to do that at 15% capacity, and I'm going to bring down our financial centers to allow our commercial shipyard to be constructed. And that shouldn't take too long. It should take about a year and a year and a quarter. So let's begin incrementing forward here as we continue our journey in this series. Production of research facilities completed on Earth, actually, and so we're going to keep assigning those. Now, we'll probably want to continue to build them up. You always want to keep building research facilities because research is king. We just finished up 3 Collaborate class freighters, so these are our new freighters that we can now detach, use, and be pretty happy with. I'm going to call this freighter group, I think, 4. So we can go for 2. And another thing that you can do is you can say, oh, they're going to move, they move here to here with like brackets. You can also go like, okay, this is going to be a 75 kiloton cargo space group. And we're going to begin to move, I believe, automated mines over to Titania. Then we're going to refuel from Earth. Another thing that we've also found is that AJ Corporation here has just started up operations. And so we're going to send a governor And we're going to have a look if the minerals are worth it. They do seem to be worth it. There's a lot of very good minerals. We're going to start purchasing those minerals and start shipping them back to Earth by setting them up in the mass driver destination. And again, the reason I'm doing this is because I want the minerals here and I don't want them to be lost. And there's a lot of really low, like high accessibility minerals on these tiny little asteroids. These mining corporations are very good at performing tasks in terms of their mining for us without us having to worry about it. And they're free mines, if you think about it that way. Obviously, there's wealth cost associated. I'm going to order up another 3 of these freighters to be built. Again, we're going to need the freighters for our colonization efforts. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. And we're going to continue to increment along here. Freighter Squadron Group 2 has completed orders. I think we didn't set up a cycle order, which is why that occurred. So we're going to just set up a cycle order accordingly. Refuel. That'll set up that cycle order. They'll constantly keep doing that until they run out of automated mines. And we're going to Uranus, as you can see here, and moving stuff around. Now, the retooling for the Elba class should just finish up, and so we're going to order up the first 2 vessels in that class. Now, we need to give them proper names, so I'm going to go back to my class design window here. We're going to go over to our names over here. I'm going to give these guys, I think a really great name would be, let's go with Nobel Physicists. So Nobel Prize-winning physicists, I guess. HMS is good for me. Obviously, you can use whatever prefix that makes sense in your lore. Again, that's the great thing about Aurora is the lore in terms of your story. What is your story and how do you want to go about doing it? So we're going to create the Paul Dirac and the William Henry Bragg, both of them Elba-class vessels, and they'll be done in September of 2042. So we'll be waiting quite a bit of time until that is done, of course. I believe we just finished up nuclear gas core technology just there. And we're going to begin researching into the next... actually, we're going to be splitting our research to look for weapon systems. Because we need to be able to defend ourselves as we start to explore outwards. And so we're going to go for... because we have good energy weapon scientists relative to our missile and kinetic weapons, we're going to be going for primarily energy weapons. So we're going to go for lasers. And then for our point defense, because we're going to need point defense, right? There's a lot, I've made a lot of videos on weapons and ship design, but suffice to say, we need an anti-ship weapon, a point defense weapon, and then we need to put that on a ship that we'll be able to defend ourselves with. So, I'm going to be using railguns. The reason I'm going to be using railguns is because they are the cheapest point defense in the early game, and they're also the best point defense in the early game. Because Gauss cannons, which are usually what most people will use, they take time until they get enough rate of fire that they're actually worth your investment. And so we're going to put research into the 10cm railgun and 10cm laser focal size. The reason I'm going for lasers is because they're just the most easy standard, standard weapon that works for us. And because we have good scientists in them, it makes sense. And then with our sense of fire controls people, we need good fire control rating speeds and good beam fire control ranges to be able to actually operate lasers in a meaningful manner. And so that is what we're going to also be researching right there. 3 more collaborator class vessels have been built. I'm not going to build any more. I think we've got enough. We may need to obviously increase sizes, but we don't need to right now anyway. And then we're going to start building, we just finished up our automated mines. We're going to start building another 10 research labs at 15%. And then we're going to build, let's say, another 100 automated mines at 30%. There we go. In terms of our wealth situation, which is also something we want to keep an eye on, which is why I've been saying, yeah, our wealth situation is not very good. So I'm actually going to increase. I'm going to get rid of the automated mines for now, and I'm going to tell all of that to go in to the financial centers. I'm going to build another 100 of those to be built, and we're going to need as many of them as we can get, and then we're going to ship those over to the moon for jobs. Assign new with our research lab so that we always have something new to assign with. I believe that's our tug that just finished up construction. Yes, it is. We have our fuel harvester here, so this is what we're going to do. We're going to create 2 different things. We're going to create an admin command, which is going to be a industrial admin command, and we're going to call this a harvester command. And then under it, we're going to create a new command called fuel harvesters. Okay, and this is where we're going to put all our fuel harvesters, going to put our auto miners, that kind of stuff. Then I'm going to detach our tug, and I'm going to bring him over to fuel harvesters command. I'm going to make sure that we have proper people assigned. We want the production Is it mining? Yeah, I think it's mining. Is the actual one we want for fuel harvesting. So we're going to go for a mining-focused people. Then we're going to grab our tug, go to movement orders, go to fleets, and we're going to go grab ourselves our space station, which is going to be our fuel harvester, and take that over to the gas giant that has Saurium on it. Uranus, in this case, is the gas giant with Saurium that is in the best accessibility. We're going to take that over and we're going to release tracted ships, and then we're going to refuel at Earth. We're currently also building 2 tankers, if I remember correctly, and those will be used to transport that fuel once it's in that location. Those are there, they've just been built. And as we can see here, we now have the Dulio in orbit. Finished up 10 centimeter lasers, and we're going to continue researching in that direction as well. Now, with the Dulio over the area, they're going to start harvesting fuel. As we can see here, 2.4 million litres of fuel is being harvested every single year. Because the bonus is, we should be harvesting about 1.8 million litres. We are actually harvesting 2.4 million litres, which is very, very good. We're going to rename this to Uranus Fuel Harvesters. And with our tug, we can begin to move things back and forth as needed as we get more of these fuel harvesters. And with the tankers, we can also begin to harvest fuel back. So we produce about 2.4 million litres of fuel every single year. Our tankers can move approximately 10 million litres of fuel every single year. So we're going to detach you, we're going to put you into the into logistics command, and we're going to call you the Fuel Transport Squadron 1. Then we're going to order that every single year you are going to harvest approximately. So we're going to go to fuel harvesters. We set up an order delay. Now we're going to put this in seconds, order delays in seconds. The reason I'm going to be doing this in an order delay is because I want them to harvest the fuel, right? And then when they've got all their fuel just collected in those tanks, enough to fill our tanker, we can then send our tanker over so that we are not wasting fuel constantly going back and forth and checking, hey, do you have fuel? Hey, do you have fuel? Hey, do you have fuel? We don't want that to occur. And that is why we're going to be setting this order up. So it's 31 million seconds. Every 358 days, you will refuel from those tankers. Then you're going to go back to Earth. You're going to transfer fuel to colony. That's cycle those orders. And that's it. That's all we need to be able to get a fuel harvesting situation, or fuel harvesting of a gas giant, to be transferring that fuel back to Earth to keep our fuel supplies in a good situation. Reaching 10 centimeter railguns. Now we don't need anything better than 10 centimeter railguns, because except for the railgun launch velocity to actually use them, because 10 centimeter railguns are the main point defense. You don't use anything bigger for point defense for railguns. Special shipyard complex completed on Earth, and that is going to be for our jump ship. So we're going to bring that up to 30,000 tons, and then with our construction usage, the reason I'm bringing it up to 30,000 tons because jump stabilization modules are pretty big, so that's why we're doing it. Then with our remainder here, I'm going to put this into our fuel harvester stations because we want to get as many of those building and built as possible. There's another Dulio. We're going to wait until a few more of them are built before we move them over. Titania has also got a lot more automated mines actually coming over here, and so we're actually mining 514 tons of galacite every single year. And then that is being shipped back, and we can see how that influxes into our empire over here. With empire mining, we can see that we are mining quite a bit of resources. We also need to obviously move over if we have freighters available. We do. I'm going to detach this freighter, go to Titan, and unload all the minerals that are on Titan, and then just silence mules until we have all the minerals from Titan back on Earth, because we found minerals from the uncovering of the ruins. Now, with our jump stabilization module done, we can begin to actually build out our jump stabilization ship. So we're going to go here, we're going to create the module. Again, that's a pretty big module. We're going to need to probably get the smaller version of it, which is the where is it? It should be the smaller version, the 150. That's the 150. Do we not have the smaller jump stabilization module? Because there's a 360 version, unless I'm blind. Maybe I'm blind. Well, looks like we're going to have to use the larger one, which means that we're going to have to wait until we can get our jump stabilization ship up, and we're going to actually have to continue capacity upgrade this to, I'd say, 70,000 tons. There we go. We can continue our research. We're going to put some research into constructive production, try to get our scientists into, or not a sense, but just overall production capabilities into a better place. In fact, because our wealth situation is actually in a bad situation, we're going to go for increased wealth generation. Because our wealth situation is in a bad place. Capacitor recharge 2 is good. We're going to go for capacitor recharge 3 because that will allow our railguns to fire every 5 seconds, which is a very important milestone for point defense capability, which is why we're going to focus that down. Okay, our first 2 vessels were completed of the Elba class. Now, we're going to order another 2 of those vessels to be ordered and built, because we want as many of those exploring as possible, because more exploration is better than less exploration. We're going to detach both of them. We're going to take them over to the survey command, and then we're going to set up their standing orders like we did our previous survey vessels. So, next 5 system bodies, survey location, deployment exceeded, go refuel, resupply at colony. Fuel less than 50%, you're going to refuel at colony, and we're going to do the exact same thing over here. So they will begin to survey the survey locations, which are here, and look for jump points. And so we should see that in effect coming up here shortly. We also need to replace the person who's commanding our survey command, which we have done. And we complete research into railgun launch velocity, which is fantastic news. With that research now done, I'm going to begin researching into power propulsion, go for a 1.25 power bonus, as well as maximum engine size. We're also going to need to be ordering up here. I think we're going to stop this for now. I'm going to order up 2 naval shipyard complexes, because we're going to be needing those to actually build some kind of naval vessel to defend ourselves with. And then let's continue incrementing onwards. Duelio just completed the 3rd one, and we're beginning to survey out here, as we can see. Now, they're geologically surveying all the way out there, but they'll be done shortly. 5 inactive research facilities available. Let's look at logistics. The only thing we can get that would be of use to us. We are going to need to increase our maintenance support capability, so I'm actually going to add there, because as we build up naval ships, we need to be able to support them. And so, in fact, I'm even going to take some off here and start building, like, the 30 maintenance facilities, because otherwise we can't support our survey frigates. And let's say research facility, we're going to do what we did usually, which is just assign new. Okay, we're looking for jump points. We are looking for jump points now. Wealth generation per 100 million people, whatever. We have done that. We're not going to go for terraforming just yet. I'm going to go for increase our research rate. And our industry is going pretty well. Titania has 72 automated mines now on it. And then we also have Titan here, which is slowly growing. We nearly have enough people to cover all the workers, though we need to move some of these resources back anyway. Luna has 118 financial sensors. I'm going to order our civilians, so what we're going to do is going to set a demand. Hey, I want you to move 172 financial sensors from Earth to the moon. And the reason I want you to do this is because we will get a bonus to production of wealth on the moon. So our governor here is really, really good in a lot of ways, but he's not very good at wealth generation. Well, our governor on the moon has a 30% bonus to wealth generation, we just found. So that means that if we congregate all our wealth generation here, that will give us a much bigger bonus, which is why we're going to do that. 4th Duelio class station completed. We found a new jump point, so that is the jump point we found in Sol. We're going to let the rest of the survey locations get completed up here, but that is how we're going to be leaving the solar system coming up here shortly. Then, with the rest of our logistics, I think we're going to be looking at, let's get fuel storage large. Let's get some of the basic things that we're going to be needing coming up here soon. So, large cargo holds, boat bays. These are things for hangars, things for transport, that kind of thing. Let's go for, yeah. All looks good to me. 2 more Elba class vessels were completed. We're going to probably go for 6. Now, the reason I'm going to go for 6 is because generally, the most amount of jump points you'll ever have is 6. And we don't want to have too many vessels because they are pretty expensive, and we don't really need that many of them. And it's, yeah, You can obviously build more, but I don't really like to. I like to obviously have maybe 6 at most survey vessels going at once. Obviously, as your needs increase, you will need to build more of them. So we're just going to set up the exact same orders on these ships. There we go. And did we start building those newer ones? Yes, we did. Production main facility completed on Earth. That's fantastic news. And let's continue finishing off the, most importantly, the fuel harvesters. That's that research done. And we continue to look for those jump points. Nice engine size completed. Yeah, so we're going to go over to power propulsion. Let's go for jump drive efficiency because we're going to be needing jump drive efficiency considering that we will be building newer and bigger ships. David Anderson has not been able to do anything. So this tells us now that they are ready to go through the jump point. So the year is 2044 and we're going to go through the jump point. We've only found 1 jump point so far, which is in a way good, but also in a way bad because we're not going to be near many other systems and many other opportunities. Now, that jumper stabilization ship I was talking to you about, we're nearly at 70,000 tons, but we're going to need to explore, obviously, first. And there we go. He's gone through the jump point, and we found the system of Sirius. So then what we're going to do, the first thing you're going to do is going to open up system window. And you're going to figure out what kind of planets are we dealing with here. So we've got a Venusian atmosphere, Rift Valley's world, that's very large. And then on the second star, we've got nothing. So they will begin to survey. And we also just finished up capacitor recharge rate. So we're going to help improve other research. Let's do like max squadron jump size. And we've also got our naval yards coming up here. I'm going to build our first naval yards of 5,000 tons. They will begin to survey, and they'll also be able to find things. We also have the William Bragg here, and because we only have 1 jump point, we're going to send everything into Sirius. Yeah, every ship going to go into Sirius here. And so there's Paul Dinnick. So very few jump points, which is very unusual. Usually you have a lot more, and so you can obviously set how many you do have. And we just finished up moving all those automated mines to Earth, which is fantastic news. We just have these guys refuel. So we now have 100 automated mines on Titania, which are amassing 1,000 tons of resources. Then we're shipping those back to Earth. We also have Titan nearly ready to, well, we're going to be growing Titan as time goes. We also probably want to look at terraforming. Research is going pretty well, and we're going to be having our fire control range increase here shortly. Other naval shipyards done. I'm going to go for a 10,000 ton yard. The reason I'm going for a 10,000 to 5,000 ton yards because I'm estimating the size of the ships that I want to be doing. You want to be doing the same thing. So, okay, I'm going to want to forget about 5,000 tons. Oh, I'm going to be wanting this about this size. And so play around with the kind of designs you're going to be looking at here. And so for me, I want to destroy at 10,000 tons. I want to frigate 5,000 tons. I want to frigate to do escort duties and protect planets, and destroyers to be our main offensive arm, at least in the early game. We also moved over all the financial sensors to the moon, which means we're generating a lot of wealth, and our wealth generation is actually going up for once. Found a new jump point. I'm going to send the William Bragg through that jump point. Three days. I found the system of 114 Herculeus, which has basically nothing in it. And if we have a look at the star map, which you can open here, you can go through options, but you can also see where the lanes are connecting, and these lanes are going to be very, very important. So what we're looking for, and I think I'm going to just kind of stop the video kind of here. Let me kind of explain. When you're surveying, you're looking for a few things. You're looking for habitable planets for population centers. You're looking for resources, so you're looking for gas giants with thorium on them. You're looking for minerals on planets to diversify your economy and get you out of Sol, start harvesting resources outside of Sol. And you're also looking for other races or aliens that potentially could be a threat to you, and areas where you can fortify and control vast swaths of space. And these are the things that are going to matter going forward as you play the game, is thinking about how your strategy for colonization is going to be. Do you need naval bases everywhere? Do you need to develop a patrol fleet? There are so many questions that come up to this, and if you want to see more of those questions answered, I advise watching my current latest Let's Play series and seeing how I deal with starting as a Transnewtonian Empire. Obviously, you'll be continuing where the series left off in this current series as a conventional empire or start as a conventional empire. But it'll give you an idea of the kind of effort you need to put into logistics and patrol crafts and destroyers and having escort fleets. There's a lot of effort you need to put in to defend yourself. And one warning I will give to anyone who's currently playing is, as you start to explore, if you start on default settings, once you go above 10 systems explored, the game will get much harder, okay? So if you are feeling like you don't really have the capabilities to defend yourself, do not go above 10 systems explored, and just colonize your little space for like 10 systems, and then go and fight. However, I always do recommend, just try and fight anyway. Don't sit and turtle, because one, the enemy will get stronger, and two, it's just not fun. Like, try and learn and die and learn. There are a lot of early enemies like Precursors, Raiders, and all those spoiler races that are really great at teaching you how to do combat. And this game, its foundation is about trial and error, and so that's why I really recommend giving stuff a go. But if you do not feel like you're ready yet, keep below 10 systems, and then you can go and explore 10 systems, and you'll start to encounter potential enemies. But I think that's why I'm going to end the series off here. So this is the end of the series, and I hope you guys have enjoyed. I've tried my best to explain the why and be clear and concise, and have you guys understand why you play Aurora, why you want to be doing these things, why you want to be researching toward these goals. And again, have goals for yourself, have ideas, try and create a story that you enjoy, and most importantly, think about what you're going to need in the future. This game is about logistics, planning, and creating a story that you care about. But I'll see you guys next time. Please like, comment, subscribe, really does help me out, and goodbye.